Hello Soul Tribes, it's me again, Donna Blaze, and what I'm going to tell you is one of the most important vlogs I'll ever gonna make this year. It's because I'm sharing with you what I've experienced when I was young. Before I got to 20 years old, there were already predators who tried their best to victimize me. For those parents who are very innocent and who've never experienced this before. As for me, I've experienced it, so I know that it is possible. The danger is just lurking around. First of all, when we say sexual predators, there are different types. What I'm going to share with you are some of my experience, some very subtle, but this one, for the sake of being specific, child predators. See, these predators, my friends, they don't look like this. Sexual predators, especially those who victimize kids or children, they look like this. They look very harmless, very charming. They use a very, very good mask to hide who they are. I use the Venus flytrap example because these plants, yes, they are plants, it traps small insects or animals, very small animals, who goes to their beautiful facade. This kind of predatory in nature plants are exactly like the sexual predators who prey on kids. People around you who seem to be very safe with your kids, they seem to be very safe because they are family and they seem to have the title, for example, like a policeman or a priest or a preacher. Guys, I want you to know that sexual predators are everywhere. It can be the person closest to you. And I am not talking about only what I see on TV. I have been a binge watcher of Law and Order, also, crime stories. The reason why I'm very aware of these things because it happened to me. Yeah. Uncle, a priest, an ex-boyfriend. My first experience was my dad used to be in a police band, and this drummer, I remember, he let me sit on his lap when we used to use a vehicle like the tricycle when we go home. We didn't used to have private vehicle in the Philippines, in a very small village. I grew up in Parang Maguindanao, and I can only say this because he died long ago. As I was sitting there on his lap, he actually put his hand on my private part, and I told my mom after this, and I've never seen him after that. Actually, he used to go to the church where I used to go with my family, and yeah, he was a policeman and my dad's friend, and he still did it to me. The second one was when I was in high school. I was in a private school and I used to sing during mass, and this priest, he was white. I don't know if he was American, but there was a lot of American priests in our church that time. He said to me that I should go to confession. For some reason, I was obliged to go to confession, and he made me confess about what made me sad. And I said I have a quarrel with this ex-best friend of mine, blah blah blah. To make the story short, made me cry, so I cried and had to sit on his lap and had to hug him for a long time. And when you're high school and you're so innocent, this is like nothing, isn't it? This is what priests do, that's what you think. But he invited me to his room, and he was asking me about my parents, this and that. So I told him, yeah, my mom is this, and that my dad is a policeman, blah blah blah. And so at the end of the conversation, he actually said to me, okay, I'd give this pin with like a Virgin Mary there. And he got so close to me and took my brass strap and pinned that thing on me. Now, I know I was not assaulted or anything, but now that I'm an adult, what do you think? First of all, why would you touch somebody like that without asking? He didn't ask me if he can pin that thing in my bra. Anyhow, so there was no assault there, but it's questionable, ladies and gentlemen. The third one was a little bit so hard for me to imagine, because this uncle of mine is so old and he's like a grandfather to me. So I didn't think that he'd do it. This family member invited me and my cousin to sleep with him that night because he was in town. And I said, okay, I will sleep with you in the hotel. So we got an extra bed for me, right? Because I trusted this man so much. In the middle of the night, I got so cold because the AC was so cold. I said, I'm too cold, I can't sleep. And then he invited me to his bed. And I said, okay. So I got to his bed with his duvet. And at that time, I remember I didn't have pants on, just my panties and my shirt, because it was an unplanned. After an hour, I slept, and then for some reason, he was spooning me, right? Then he got my hand and was gonna put it on his private. I knew that it was on his private because he actually grabbed my hand and put it like this. And where would it be? Of course, in his private. And I ran so fast in the toilet. I was in the toilet for 30 minutes because I thought he was gonna rape me. Anyhow, I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It took me, I think, 10 years to tell another cousin of mine who also knows this man, and he was so angry, and I couldn't tell my parents. I told my mom, I think last year. But this is my way of telling you, family or not, young or old, sexual predators are predators, my friends. What I found out over the years is that this is common to a lot of women. I had 3 friends who actually had an attempted assault. And just yesterday, I was talking to a friend, and she almost got assaulted here in Australia. Actually, one kissed her, then one grabbed her, one groped her, and there was one who attempted when she was in Nepal. My other friend, who is very close to me, she said that her uncle tried to also assault her. And so, family member or not, closest to you or not, young or old, sexual predators are predators. And I want you to be aware of this, especially the moms, because you know, when you're not aware of it and you never had experience, you will not think that, you know, the family member can do this to your kid or can do this to another human being. In the Philippines, we have really very close family ties, and sometimes we trust, you know, older people so much. And there was this one child psychologist one time who said that we should help our kids develop intuition where they can feel that something weird is going on so that they can tell you. Here in Australia, I remember when my son was in prep or grade 1, they were taught, you know, about these things. For example, no one can ever touch your private, only your mom and dad. And if ever there's someone who touches you in a weird way in your private areas, you need to tell your parents. And so if you educate your kids, then it's more likely that they have a heart to tell you in the future that somebody is attempting. Because, see, I said in the Philippines with close family ties, we sometimes tell our kids, oh, hug uncle, hug auntie, cuddle this and cuddle that. And you know, when we do that, when we force kids to do this, it means that we are not teaching them about space. Like, you need to have space. You need to protect your space, because predators, guys, have their ways. And as a parent, we need to protect our kids. Family or not, literally, we cannot trust no one. One of the reasons why I didn't tell my parents about this uncle, because he was very respected in our family. He was like the golden child of the family. And I was thinking, if I'll say something about it, then it's gonna be a big scandal in our family, because the Thai is really, really good, and this is the type of person that you won't think he'll do it in a million years. And so I have forgiven him, but this is my way of helping parents who didn't have my experience, because sometimes when we're too trusting, especially with, you know, with the kind of respect we give to our older siblings, older cousins, older uncles, and whatever, you know, we also miss the fact that a predator is a predator. So I hope my vlog helped in some way. I know that this is not about good mental health, but I think it's very important for awareness. Lastly, my soul tribes, if you have kids or sons, if you have boys, and when they get into the adolescent stage, we need to teach them boundaries with, you know, the opposite sex, or when they start dating, that no means no. Because when you force someone, it means assault. Even if the person has no clothes and has passed out in front of you because they're intoxicated, no consent means no. You need to have conversation with the other person. Do you want to do it? Do you want to do the intimate thing with me? There needs to be a very clear conversation about it. Girl or boy, kids get assaulted. And I've seen this so many times, and there were so many Me Too movement now that adult people are already coming out that they've been assaulted when they were kids, and they're male, guys. See, these predators, they like kids because kids are very innocent, kids have no malice, and kids haven't developed that strong personality yet, and they don't know boundaries yet. And so that's why I am sharing this with you, because we need to be very vigilant about our kids. My experience taught me that it doesn't matter. It can be a relative, it can be a partner, it can be a stranger or not. If they think you are a very suitable victim, they will do it to you. We cannot trust anyone, no matter what their status in life, what they look like, what their age is. You know what I mean? So I hope you spread this. If our kids' school are not teaching our kids, then it's our responsibility as their parents. So please be aware. I hope with my experience, it will inspire you to educate your kids, and just the more you're aware, the more you will prevent something to happen.